Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna be creating a scenario. So just like I said in the last episode of Magic Towers Resort, I am gonna go on a trip to Dubai and Abu Dhabi in 2022 in January. Really excited for that, and because of that I was pretty inspired to build something around that. You know, with the themes and stuff like that you got going on there. So yeah, that's exactly what we're gonna do in this video. We're gonna be building a scenario that is kind of based on those regions, and you know, kind of try to see how you actually do something like that, because I haven't really ever made more of a desert place before, and well, it's obviously a very real place to build a theme park in, as Dubai and Abu Dhabi have shown. So if you're a bit out of the loop, more recently, or in recent years I should say, a lot of investors from those areas have invested in the tourism in the area, and trying to attract those tourists to the theme parks. Now, before there weren't a lot of theme parks there, but as of recently, a lot of pretty nice, relatively high quality or high investment theme parks have been built there, because they are kind of trying to make it into a new Orlando. Now, if you're not aware of Orlando is pretty much a place to be for theme parks, and that's all thanks to Walt Disney World that was built there, which now has 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, and that has, kind of cost some of the competitors to build theme parks there as well, just like Universal Studios, which now has 2 theme parks, building their 3rd one, and has 1 water park. Alongside with some other parks as well, like the SeaWorld group, which has Busch Gardens in Tampa, which is pretty close by, and SeaWorld Orlando itself as well, of course, among others. So yeah, basically they were trying to make Dubai and Abu Dhabi into a very similar thing, and try to attract tourists that way. So first of all, we have Dubai Parks and Resorts, for example. Basically, they're just trying to build theme parks close by each other, make it into a place where you can go and have an entire vacation just at a resort itself. So at a hotel and at the theme parks, all from the same brand, pretty much. Trying to farm as much money from you as possible is honestly basically the tactic that they're going for. Now, to build this desert, I've never really done this before, so, I didn't just want to use one type of ground, because that would look pretty boring. So instead I kind of tried to make some variations in the types of sand. But to still make it look natural, I found this technique where you basically draw blobs of sand, and then draw some lines through it, and then just kind of try to fade out all the corners of those shapes that you're left with. And to be honest, the result is really quite nice, I think. It works really quite well. Now, alongside with that, I got some vegetation going on. It's mostly just randomly placed. It's not too special. I'd probably try to group it a bit more if we were to try it again, but it gets the idea across, and it's still just a desert, so I think it's alright if it looks a bit bare. So yeah, next up I wanted to build a highway just running through the scene, which would then offer a starting point for building a theme park in, because obviously we're still making a scenario, so the idea is that you are going to be able to download this map and build your own theme park in it. And so yeah, for that I wanted a highway with like a ramp to the park itself and the parking lot and stuff like that. And then from there you can build your very own theme park or resort. Now, the really interesting thing about these theme parks that are built inside of a desert is that they have some things that they have to do to make it, well, I guess, pleasant or bearable at all. Obviously, in the desert, it's going to be very, very warm, pretty much year-round. And additionally, you have all the sand, which is not that much of a problem. though there are sandstorms, and that is a problem. And that means that rides will wear down really, really quickly. And on top of that, you also have the heat as well. And because of that, it makes sense to build those theme parks indoors instead of in the outdoors. So where we usually see theme parks being mostly outdoors, even a park that started out as an indoor park, like Toverland in the Netherlands. Netherlands doesn't have the greatest weather, so it helps to have some indoor sections as well in case it rains a lot. Toverland initially started as an indoor park and has now pretty much grown to be, I guess, almost mostly outdoors. And so, it's not a very common thing to see. However, because of the situation that you have in those countries, in those desert countries, there's a need for indoor theme parks. And as such, there is this whole new, a whole new types of challenges pretty much to building such a theme park. Because obviously, not only do you have to build them indoor, but there are a lot of things that, become new challenges when you start building them indoors. For example, one very big issue that I've seen people talk about a lot is sound. Now, when you're inside of a warehouse, like the Toverland warehouses, inside of the indoor theme park area, sound is a bit of an issue because all the sounds that you have inside of the warehouse kind of jumble together and become this, pleasant, very loud rumble, just a constant rumble that you hear. And, that just doesn't make an indoor area very pleasant. So to fight that, there are some techniques that you can do to help and prevent the sound from bouncing around the warehouse. Now, I looked this up a bit, and apparently there are certain types of materials that will absorb sound more. So when you're building a rock wall, for instance, in an indoor area, if you make that out of a certain material, spray on a certain type of material on top of that on top of that fake rockwork, I should add, then it becomes manageable, and then the sound is going to be absorbed a lot more than it would be in just a plain warehouse. And that's actually going to help you with all these sound issues quite a lot. Because otherwise, if you don't do that, having something like a background music playing inside of an area is pretty much impossible. Because if you have the same song playing throughout the entire area, the other side of the area is probably at such a distance away that the time for the sound to travel is still going to cause them to jumble together once they actually reach you. So, but that's apparently something that they've done really, really well in those indoor theme parks in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, because they knew that was going to be an issue, and they were able to take that into consideration while building their theme parks. So some things like that are just extremely challenging, I guess, and also extremely interesting to try and think about. So if you are going to be downloading this scenario, I would like to challenge you to take these challenges into consideration when building your own theme park. Because building a roller coaster outdoors is completely fine and possible, but you do have to keep in mind that the wear and tear on the coaster is going to be a lot faster, pretty much. Like, it's going to require some updating a lot faster than it would be, than a coaster would need to be in a more lush area. Additionally, with the heat, you need to provide plenty of places for people to cool down. And, if possible, you might even want to build as much as possible indoors, just to make sure that people don't actually have to go outside into the very harsh weather of the desert. So yeah, all very interesting stuff that has really fascinated me, that I didn't really look at before, and that I've now kind of been started getting interested into because I am gonna go there myself and experience it. And I'm very excited to actually see all these things for myself in real life and try them out. For example, the sound absorption and stuff like that, and the way the indoor areas are made. One other question, for example, is like, how do you do a backstage area when you just have a warehouse? Well, you probably just have something like double walls, so you have your your scenery at the edge of your themed land, and behind that there's probably still just some kind of hallways running around the entire place, just to be able to provide goods to the entire building, all the shops and restaurants as well. So yeah, a lot of stuff to think about, I guess. Something very, very interesting. Now, I did have some people say like, oh, are you going to be building an indoor theme park yourself? I'm not sure. I don't think so. To be completely honest, I'm not entirely sure what I would even build an indoor theme park about. Obviously, we've already done a lot of themes inside of Magic Towers Park and Mystic Lagoon as well, of course. So I'm not really sure how I would be able to build another park, pretty much, and have it be unique, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Trying to make something new. So yeah, for now I'm not really planning on building my own indoor park inside of the scenario. But if you want to create your own park, then definitely do. I'm very excited to see what people will be doing with this scenario if they actually play it. And definitely make sure to tag me if you do actually play with this scenario, because I'm really curious what you will do with it. So you can see me spending a lot of time on the infrastructure here, trying to get the highway completely done and the exit ramps. Pretty tough stuff, I guess, because obviously with NCSO you don't really have a lot of round shapes, and for a lot of road work you do kind of need some rounder shapes. Now if you're doing like a downtown kind of thing, then you can pretty much get away with a grid if you're going for a US city, but if you are trying to do anything else, you are gonna need some kind of turns inside of your roads, and it's really challenging to make them look good. Now one way you can do that is by using the monorail track as the border for the roads, and we'll be using that technique to create some grass patches later. But that's just one way in which you can tackle that. Now another way is to just make it a bit more pixelated, I guess, make it a bit some harsher angles, and that's what I've decided to do here because I didn't really want to spend a ton of time. And additionally, one pretty big challenge with a desert area is that you can't really use bushes as much to hide whatever you're doing, pretty much. So that's also a bit of a challenge, but yeah, we'll see. So I just made this bridge, and I'm gonna be I'm adding some road signs here, just to signify where you're actually going. I'm pretty happy with how the bridge turned out, to be honest. It's a pretty modern type of bridge, which I think really fits because this highway exit is probably pretty recent, because as you can see with the timeline of those Dubai and Abu Dhabi parks, they're all very, very new parks. So yeah, that would make sense that it's a bit more of a modern bridge. So yeah, I think all in all it works out pretty well. Just adding some more signs to the highway and stuff like that. There's actually one more thing that I probably need to talk about, and that's the fact that obviously these rich investors have spent a lot of money building all these theme parks. But the issue is that people aren't really going to them. Now, regarding tourism in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, I haven't done a whole lot of research into this topic, so I'm kind of just guessing here as well. But my guess is that a lot of the tourism inside of those countries is business related. And that means that the people who are there as tourists may not really be looking to go to a theme park. That's my theory, I guess. But apparently there is a pretty good amount of tourism in those countries. However, they are really having trouble getting up to the parks. And that has meant that all of the parks pretty much have not been able to reach their goals in terms of visitor numbers. Even worse yet, it has been way below what they were expecting it to be. And as a result, a lot of projects that were still planned have been cancelled as well. Now, just to name some examples, I think Universal Studios was actually building a theme park in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, one of the two. And they have stopped with the construction, and I think the site is being sold right now. There are a lot of other changes. They were planning on building a theme park here, and pretty much have never seen, never actually gotten started on those projects yet. Simply because by the time they got around to actually starting on the project or finishing it up, they found out that the reality of the situation was that not enough people are actually visiting those parks to be profitable. Or at least I suppose they aren't that profitable. Apparently profitable enough to keep them running, or they might realize that building such a large resort like this, or resorts like that, it's gonna take some time for people to go there. It's become popular as well. But just very interesting stuff, how that kind of evolved, how there was a sudden boom of a lot of theme parks being built, and then very suddenly, we're now left with footage of pretty much empty theme parks, which is pretty sad to see. If you ever see like a blog or something, or a vlog I should say, about one of those theme parks, then you'll probably notice how abandoned they are. They're in, usually in really good condition. The employees seem really, really nice. Plenty of employees as well, so they're definitely being staffed still. It's not like the investors are abandoning these projects, but there are just not a lot of people, and that's kind of sad to see, because it would be really quite great if we had another Orlando, and if it really took off like an Orlando, because to be honest, for us fans, that would just mean that more companies would be willing to spend the money to build a theme park if they do appear to be very profitable. And right now we didn't really get that, and I guess the backlash is that you can't just build an Orlando everywhere, which is probably kind of the thought that investors might now have when they're talking about building new theme park complexes. And we see new theme park projects pop up all the time, and it's always kind of the question like whether or not it will ever be built. Usually a lot of these projects do end up being cancelled before they even start hitting ground. But yeah, this is just one example of where stuff actually did get built. But so far, it's not been quite the thing that they were hoping for, I guess. So yeah, that's all really interesting stuff, I guess. So in the meantime, you can see me having built the entrance sign pretty much. You can put a sign there and put the name of your park there. I put a gate there where, you can have the parking tickets or something like that. It's pretty much made big enough to queue up some cars there, and at the end of the day, they might switch around some lanes and then have more lanes heading out of the park than heading into the park. That way you can efficiently use those lanes that you have there at the entrance. So after you've gotten your park ticket or parking ticket, you're gonna go to the parking lot, park your car there, and then it's time to walk to the entrance. So yeah, first we're gonna be building another parking lot. It's always fun. So I now have a new thing that I can use. I think it was Cedrat who made a plugin, which is a scenery manager plugin, which has been out for a while now. I haven't used it myself before though. This is my first time actually using it inside of this park, and to be honest, it is amazing. So if you've seen my videos for a longer time, then you'll know that my go-to trick for building big things like parking lots and hotels was to build a car ride on top of that object that I built, and then test the car ride and just wait for it to make me able to save the design. Because if you save a track design, you can actually save scenery along with that. And for that, it's just gonna look at the positions of the track and right next to that. So that way we were able to save scenery and place it down in other places. Now, thanks to the plugin, we can more easily just select an area and copy and paste that around, and it is amazing. I love it. It is so good. I'm definitely gonna have to use that more, and I'm gonna have to see how they actually save the scenery blueprints. I'm gonna have to see if it would be possible for me to share scenery blueprints that way as well, because it's a lot more efficient. a lot more fun to do it that way. So yeah, that's something that I want to look into. But so far, I'm really excited for this plugin, and I'm definitely going to be using it more because it just saves so much time. Saving a ride design was already a lot faster than actually having to rebuild something yourself. But this just makes it so much more convenient, because otherwise, you wouldn't really use the car ride technique for really small stuff. But now that we have such a fast and efficient way of doing it and copying around items, it's a lot more convenient. I'm definitely going to be using that a lot faster, I guess. So that's pretty interesting. So I made the parking lot, and I made a little road there that continues onward, and maybe if your park gets big enough, you can build another parking lot next to it, or maybe that leads to the backstage area. Currently there's a gate there, so it could be something like that, but I'm just going to leave that open for you to decide to do with that what you want to. And here I made the start of a plaza for where the park entrance can be. With behind that just some piles of sand, I guess, because that's where your creativity is going to be able to do its thing, and that's where you'll be able to build your very own theme park. So yeah, once again, if you do actually use this scenario, please do tag me and share some screenshots. I'm really excited to see people actually using this scenario. But yeah, with that, I built a small sound wall there, just kind of hide the highway, make sure that the sounds of the highway don't get to the park too much. Right, so for the rest, it's just kind of fixing up some patches, adding some vegetation where needed. And additionally, we're gonna have to fix the bridge in a bit, because I made a bit of a mistake while building that, so you might have already started typing a comment about that. I'll talk more about that in a second. Now, this scenario will be downloadable in the link in the description. It will be downloadable from the Magic Towers Resort website. We now have an official website. And if you have seen my April Fool's video, you probably have already seen it. But you can now actually book a holiday to Magic Towers Resort. It's not a joke. It doesn't actually do anything, but you can go to the website and kind of have a bit of fun role-playing, planning out your vacation if you want to. But yeah, on that website, I'm currently working on making a downloadable page. So by the time this video goes up, you'll be able to visit that page and download this map from there. So like I said, it isn't going to be a scenario with money. It doesn't have any objectives. Instead, it's just, you can just have your own fun with this. And if you do want to play with money, you can definitely enable that if you want to. But for releasing the scenario, I'm not really a scenario type guy with objectives, basically. And to make a scenario that does play with money, I'd have to balance things properly and test that, and I didn't really want to do that. So that's why I decided to keep it moneyless for now. But if you do want to play with money, then definitely do. I think that would be pretty interesting to see and to see how that goes. But hopefully, money doesn't have to be the restriction here. Instead, I hope you guys learned something about theme parks in the desert, and kind of use that as some of your creative guidelines when creating your own park inside of this map. Because obviously, whenever you're building something, it helps to have some kind of, limits to what you can do, some kind of restrictions, stuff like that, because a completely blank slate is incredibly hard. You've probably all started a theme park before in Rollercoaster Tycoon with a completely empty map. And you'll know that it's daunting. You might get started on it, but you'll probably never finish it. So it helps to have some kind of boundaries to your park, to your creativity. In the end, restrictions on your creativity only help your creativity to be fruitful, pretty much. So yeah, you can see me fixing the bridge. One thing that didn't really make sense is that the cables were only on one side, and for the whole balancing act to work, I guess you need the other side as well. So that was a bit of a mistake. At first I was like, I'll just leave it for what it is, but in the end I decided to move the entire bridge pretty much just to make it work. I'm happy that I did, because otherwise you were probably already writing a message in the comment. But yeah, it works pretty well like it is now. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't liked this video already, please do. It helps other people discover these videos as well. And definitely check out the link in the description to download the scenario yourself and try it out for yourself, because that would probably be a lot of fun. Now, if you're interested, you can join our Discord and talk with other people who like theme parks, or check out my Patreon if you really, really want to. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.